Good afternoon. This is a presentation about Rosetta Stone. The big question: what is the Rosetta Stone, and should Britain return it to Egypt? Why are we asking this now? Dr. Zahi Hawass, the Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council Antiques (SCA), and the High Priest of All Mothers Archaeological in the Land of the Pharaohs, arrived in London yesterday to furnish his demand for the return of the Rosetta Stone from the display rooms of the British Museum, where it has been on show since 1802. What is so important about 2,200 years old slab of granite? Carved in 196 BC, the Rosetta Stone is the linkages key to deciphering hieroglyphics and probably the single most important conduit of understanding between the modern world and ancient Egypt. The 1.1 m height stele was covered in carved text bearing the three translations of the same writing passage. Two of the languages were Egyptian scripts, including one in hieroglyphics, and the remaining text was classical Greek. What's Dr. Hawa's case for the returning the stone? As with the Greeks and the Elgin marbles, he considers the stele to be stolen goods and has made it clear, in no uncertain terms, that he considers its continued presence in the British Museum to be a source of shame for the United Kingdom. Speaking in 2003, when his campaign began, Dr. Hawa said, "If the British want to be remembered, if they want to restore their reputation, they should volunteer to return the Rosetta Stone because it is the icon of our Egyptian identity." So, was it stolen? The Rosetta Stone's journey from the sands of an 18th century desert fort to the hushed halls of the British Museum is ended, clothed by colonial skullduggery. The stone was discovered in July 1799 by Captain Pierre Francois Bouchard, an engineer in Napoleon's army sent to conquer Egypt a year early. The arrival of the British in 1801 and their subsequent defeat of Napoleon's forces led to a dispute between the team of French scientists sent by Paris to collect archaeological finds and the commander of Britain's occupying army, who insisted they be handed over as the spoils of victory. Why is Dr. Hawa so important? Described by New Yorker magazine as sitting at the intersection of archaeology, show business, and national politics, Dr. Hawass is not shrinking violent when it comes to publishing his causes. Clad in his Threadmaker status, widely interpreted as a nod to the wardrobe of Indiana Jones, the Doctor regularly takes to the airwaves, newspapers, columns, and cyberspace to outline the latest discovery in Egypt and maximizing the mystique of that is worth at last $11 a year to the Egyptian economy. He also likes to better home his point that, for all of our history, our heritage was stolen from us. What do other archaeologists think of him? For a man who makes no secret of religion controversy, it is unsurprising that he has some detractors. Critics accuse Dr. Hawass of being autocratic and harnessing serious archaeology to the joke of media and popular entertainment. Under his leadership, the SCA has conquered a fearsome reputation for withdrawing accreditation from foreign. Egyptologists accused of breaking the organization's rules, effectively banishing them from making further discoveries. What else does Egypt want back? Dr. Hawass insists he is not looking for the repatriation of every artifact, but his shopping list includes some of the most famous items of Egyptian art held abroad. They include the elegant bust of Queen Nefertiti, held by Berlin's Nives Museum, the Dendera Temple Zodiac in the Louvre, and Hatbox of the Pyramid Builder and Kafat kept in Boston's Museum of Art. Are there any precedents for returning artifacts to Cairo? Dr. Howard claims to have secured the return of some 5,000 artifacts during his SCA tenure. His power was underlined in October when, under the threat of the renewal of Egypt's cooperation for archaeological expeditions, the Louvre agreed under the direction order of the French culture ministers to return some fragments of right texts which were illegally stolen in the 1908. What does the British Museum say? After decades of diplomatic maneuvering over disputed items such as the Elgin marbles, the museum is well practiced in the art of fading off requests for its most glittering treasures, underlining its role as a global repository for humanity's cultural achievements. It said, "The truth is, feel strongly that the collection must remain as a whole." Officials also waste no time in pointing out that Dr. Hawass' presence in London, which included a speech to the invited audience at the museum last night, is largely to publicize his latest book. Is it time we surrender the stone? Yes, British ownership of the stone is the result of a colonial dispute not dealt with the Egyptians. Egypt has invested 110 million on improving its museums and heritage sites. 2,000 years of mismanagement and plundering has left Egypt denuded of its most important artifacts. No, the British Museum is a global showcase for 2 million years of shared human history. Concert remains the priceless artifacts are at the risk of damage in Egyptian museums. Returning it will open the floodgates to similar claims that would empty the BM's displayed cases. Well, this is the presentation of this great stone. Thanks.